You have legal questions. Amy the attorney has the answers. Welcome to today's show. And here's Amy.
I want to go further into independent contractor cases and sort of how they materialize and what they look like. If you're an independent contractor, what would you be looking at?
Okay, so the independent contractor cases are a growing percentage of the wage and hour cases. And that's because employers they've stopped paying people as a regular W-2 employee, and they've said, hey, we can offload a lot of costs, a lot of insurance, a lot of pay if we just magically call you an independent contractor. So it's become a real issue. There are a ton of people who are independent contractors or classified as independent contractors who, under the eyes of the law, really should be W-2 employees, which means they are entitled to overtime and minimum wage.
Okay, so tell me about what happens with the independent contractor. Give me an example.
Okay, so a great example, because this is happening every day, would be, for example, I have a case right now of truckers, over-the-road semi-trailer drivers. And so what happens is they'll start out working for a large trucking company, and then one day the trucking company will come to them and they'll say, hey, you want to be your own boss? Then come buy one of our used fleet, buy or lease the truck, and then we'll pay you more per mile. And so they think it's a great deal. They sign up for it. And it's rarely a great deal, because what happens is once I take my monthly pay or my mileage pay, and then I reduce the cost of the truck, the cost of fuel, the cost of repairs, there are months where I might make zero, literally $0 an hour or $1 an hour. And so if I'm an employee, obviously the employer can't offload their overhead on me. And so I should at least be getting full minimum wage for all the hours I worked.
Okay, that is an excellent example. So it doesn't, you say, if an employer says, hey, but you're an independent contractor, there are ways to say, well, right, but you're still not paying me the minimum wage.
That's right. So the first step in the case is to go prove that, hey, I'm not an independent contractor under the eyes of the law. So that's where the big disagreement usually is. And it comes down to factors such as, is this my full-time job, or am I a true independent contractor who goes and does work at different types of workplaces? It asks, how much control does the employer have over me? Can they tell me where to be and when, or do I have complete control over my day or my week? Where do I get my business? Does the employer give me the business, or do I actually have a real business where I'm out getting work from lots of different places? So there are multiple factors, but what happens is the court or a jury will say, yeah, I think you fit more in the independent contractor bucket, or yeah, I think you fit more in the employee bucket.
Okay. All right, so let me ask you this. It sort of sounds in our sharing economy. I mean, you're describing some of this and I'm thinking, oh gosh, is this Uber and Lyft?
There's been a ton of litigation with Uber and Lyft and these other gig economy type workers, frankly, to mixed results. The biggest issue has been arbitration agreements. So companies who have rolled out an arbitration agreement that has a waiver of your class action rights, they've been able to keep individual cases, been able to keep us from consolidating thousands of cases together. And so we've got to go bring the case one by one. So that's been the big issue in Uber and Lyft. But yeah, that's a classic example of, all right, well, they're out. The employer says you're out running your business. You're working when you want. The employee says, yeah, but I'm working all through you. I'm getting my business through you. You're telling me what I can do, what I can't. And so the Uber and Lyft cases are great examples of the different kinds of questions out there. One of the things that I point out about Uber and Lyft is a lot of these guys are very part-time. And so if you find yourself working full-time for a company and they're calling you an independent contractor, there might be a problem. Okay. If you're working full-time and relying 100% for your income from one company, you're probably not an independent contractor.